Hey, welcome back to the Soul Pod. This is Stacy. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. It's a little bit loud because of the waterfalls, but I'm double miking, so hopefully it picks all this up and you can hear me all right. I'm up near Truckee, California, going over near Donner Summit, and it's so beautiful up here. I was just on a drive, and it's so pretty. I thought, well, why not record the next video here and share some of this beauty with you guys. The topic today is going to be useful to you if you're in spiritual growth or have been in spiritual growth and have gotten stalled or plateaued, or feel like you're sort of stuck in your ability to move forward, kind of running out of ways to work on yourself. This has happened to me in the past, and I've found some beautiful ways to fix this problem, to get unstuck. Aldous Huxley said there's only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that's your own self. That's all any of us can do. That's all any of us can do is work on us. We know this. We can control the outside world a little bit, not a whole lot, and that's finite. There's only so much we can do. We certainly can't make everything perfect around us. What we can do is we can work to improve everything in here, and and when we do, we get a burst. Those of you doing spiritual work know exactly what I'm talking about. The joy increases. Uh, Myself, when I was going through my spiritual awakening and my spiritual growth, and I had years of a tremendous amount of deep work. And what happened was I plateaued at some point. I burned through the big stuff. And then suddenly I found myself sort of addicted to that feeling I got as I was doing improvement on me, as I was tearing back the layers and getting rid of the stuff that didn't serve me. And I found myself plateaued. Well, there's a lot we can do when we get to that space, and some of it not so obvious. The most important thing and the key to this work is finding discomfort. And you'll hear this theme from me again and again and again. Finding discomfort is really the key, because everything we work through in our spiritual growth is about discomfort. Any kind of growth at all, really, but spiritual growth in particular. And the thing about spiritual growth that's interesting is that, when we see other people doing their work, most of the work people do is invisible. Like we don't see the work people are doing. We typically will see the results. We see a kinder, gentler, better version of a person once they've done their work, but typically we don't see the work. Whereas external work, we're lifting weights, we're working out, we're getting better and stronger and all that. We tend to see that work because it's outside of us. But spiritual work, it's all in here, so we don't tend to notice it. And the same is true when we're doing our work. When we're doing our work, most people don't notice it. They may notice that we're going through something. They may notice that we're different, perhaps, but they don't see the work. And the reason for that is because it is all inside. And the reason I'm talking about that is because of discomfort. When we're doing our work, we're approaching stuff that is part of us that we're having to challenge. Sometimes it's just the way we see things, the way we our belief system, our judgments, the things that might be invisible to us that are just our way of operating. So this is the trick I want to share with you. If you feel stuck, grab a pen, grab a paper, and what I want you to do is write down 5 things that make you uncomfortable. Okay? Now, I don't want these things to be massive, or some giant thing that's outside of your reach, like skydiving next weekend in, you know, Alaska, or whatever. Don't make it something ridiculous. Find 5 things that make you uncomfortable, and then we can pare that down. Now, once you have those 5 things, ask yourself, are they realistic in terms of you being able to physically do them? Are they something that's way outside of your reach? I mean, even in terms of your geography where you're at. Like if you're uncomfortable doing something in another state, fine, take that off the list. We're talking about things that make you generally uncomfortable. I'm going to give you some examples. I've used examples, for instance, in previous videos about me being uncomfortable wearing certain sorts of clothes. So I would wear those certain sorts of clothes. I have friends who are uncomfortable. Like I have a friend who's an introvert, and she's uncomfortable having conversations with strangers. Now, that doesn't seem like a big thing, but it is to her. And so she doesn't have to approach that discomfort. Doesn't mean she has to do anything major. She just has to step out of her house and maybe go to the grocery store and have a conversation with a complete stranger. For me, asking questions of people used to be uncomfortable because I felt like it came across as nosy rather than curious. So make a list of 5 things that are approachable, that are within your reach to be able to do. Okay, step 1. Step 2, pick one. Doesn't matter which one. It could be the easiest, the one that you think is the easiest, or the one that you think is the hardest. And mind you, your list doesn't have to be like anyone else's. Your easy might be someone else's hard. Your hard might be someone else's easy. It's not about them, it's about you. It's about your personal growth. So pick the one that you want to try first. And pick the low-hanging fruit. It doesn't matter. You're still going to get the same burst from it when you do it, and you're still going to get spiritual growth from it. So pick things that are uncomfortable. Okay? And this could be anything that's uncomfortable. You know, we talk about spiritual growth, we think it's some big thing, right? It's not. It's all the little things. All the little things. The things in us, the judgments we carry, the fears we have, the discomforts. Any of those will lead to spiritual growth. So pick one. Step 3, go do it. And this is where most of us punk out. You say you're stuck, you want to be unstuck, this is how you get unstuck. Write 5, pick one, and do it. Number 3 is where most people hit the brakes. So, question is, you ready to do it? Little side story, I used to be uncomfortable being alone. I used to be such an extrovert, and that was my preset early on in life. I was the youngest of 4 kids. I was also the youngest of all the cousins. I was also a sick kid. So I got tons of attention growing up, and that was like how I filled my tank. You know, like I did stand up when I was young, and everyone's like, "You're so fearless." And only looking back did I realize I was doing stand up because I needed external validation. Now, what do I do when I want to have a good time or enjoy myself? I go be alone. That would have been something unthinkable for me in the first 25, 30 years of my life because I needed outside approval and validation. It's only for doing the spiritual growth and the discomfort work that I'm talking about that I got to hear, where I really find a lot of joy driving to the middle of nowhere and finding a view like this. That's what comes from this sort of work. And you may think that one thing you're picking may not be all that big of a deal, but it's picking those again and again and again, making another list of 5, picking another, that you chip away at that. And in chipping away at those things, you peel back the layers and you expand. You become a better, more beautiful, more open, more complete version of yourself. And then one day you wake up and you're like, wow, I didn't know about all that other stuff about myself that all this revealed. That's what happens when we do this work. Other things get revealed to us that we didn't know about ourselves, and life becomes just a little bit more beautiful. I also want to say, as a final thought, in doing this work, be patient with yourself. Be patient. This work isn't easy work. Sometimes it's some of the things we pick are a little easier, but all spiritual growth is a commitment. And it's a commitment that's really beautiful because it's a commitment you're making to yourself to become the best you can be, the best version of you. Be patient with yourself. Be proud of yourself. Give yourself pats on the back. Maybe even occasionally get in the mirror and say, good work. Keep it up. You're doing good. That's it for now. I'll see you guys on the next video. Remember, write 5, pick one, and go do it. Do it today. If you have any comments, please leave them underneath. Love to hear from you guys. I always enjoy the comments.